Hi, welcome to Chat with Dr. Kat. I'm Dr. Kat. Nice to have you today. Today we're going to be talking about difficult friends that we kind of hold on to. And sometimes we don't realize why, but we do hold on to them. You know, some people will say, oh, they're a narcissist. They're, pushy. They're controlling. There's a lot of different things that go on with friendships that we wind up taking for a long time. And sometimes we take things from people, not only our friends, but maybe difficult family members that we really shouldn't be taking things from, but we do. Oftentimes we're told to be the bigger, better person. And sometimes that's something that we shouldn't carry. So remember, if you have any thoughts, feelings, go to chatwithdrkat.com. Put in any feedback, thoughts, suggestions, something in the wild, or even more about today. I think today's podcast is going to start triggering feelings about people that we've had in our lives that are very, very difficult, or people that we have now. We've all had them. Sometimes people have better boundaries than others. But ultimately, we need to find peace in our lives. Life is short. Our family is precious. We need to create an environment where we're happy. Not perfect, but happy. So today, as always, no fluff, no judgment, just real talk that leads to real change. I want you to think about this. If you've had a friend that has betrayed you, a friend or a family member that has betrayed you, you've got to stop and ask yourself, were they confused? Did they do it on purpose? Why did they do this? We're left with those feelings and emotions. Here's the bottom line. They made a decision. They made a decision to betray you. More often than not, people know when they're betraying you or stabbing you in the back or talking behind your back. They made a decision at that moment to say it. Why is it that some friends can say, I'm not going to get into that? This has become a good rule of thumb for me for a while now. I wish I had known this always. So if you can take this, please let this be a gift. Sometimes I'll have people approach me and they'll say, I'm so frustrated with so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. They're giving, negative feedback, even in my volunteer situations. And this is what I say to them. Can I just stop you for a second? I just want to let you know ahead of time before you say anything else that the person you're speaking about is a really good friend of mine. So knowing that, you may want to change your words or thoughts. 9.9 out of 10 times people will say, oh, okay, well, I was just frustrated right now. It's no big deal. Or they'll stop, or they'll change their words. They'll still talk about their frustration, which I can address or not. But they're not going to be cruel because it's my friend. And I don't want to be a part of listening to that. That was my choice to not betray. That was my choice to not join in on negativity about a friend. So I challenge you on that because it's something I wish I always knew, but I think it comes with maturity. Here's the other thing that comes with maturity. Oftentimes people expect somebody to be the bigger, better person in a situation where they didn't create the chaos. They didn't cross the line. They didn't make the tornado. They didn't create the negative feelings, but yet you're expected to walk in, sweep up, clean up the mess, and be the bigger, better person. Be the mature one. Here's the thing. You don't have to do that. Oftentimes, the bigger, better person does it because they're used to stepping in and being that for their family or for their friends. Part of being mature is realizing that you need to set boundaries. And sometimes it's better to allow that person to sit in their mess and their chaos in order to be taught that it's not acceptable anymore. Rather than you come in, be the bigger, better person, and clean up everything again. I will tell you this, The moment you start creating the boundaries, and not in a cruel way, in a mature way, creating those boundaries, you will be more at peace. You'll be more at peace. You know, it's an interesting thing with people in our lives. There was this quote that I saw a while ago, and I have really thought about it over the years. I share it in my practice. I share it with people who quite honestly, anyone will listen. And I've given it to my children as well. And here it goes. And I may have said it before, and you'll probably hear me say it again. Some people are not going to like you. You haven't done anything wrong. They're just not going to like you. And oftentimes it's because your inner light, your positivity, messes with their demons. What do I mean by that? Meaning that they don't have the patience, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skill, they create chaos, and you become a reflection of what they're not. Rather than them choose to change and be a better person, they choose to knock you down in order to elevate self. Oftentimes people call them narcissist. Sometimes I would agree. Other times, no. I think there's some other things going on. But they're very, very difficult people to deal with. And oftentimes we find them in our friend groups. Now, narcissism, either covert or overt, and we'll talk about that in another podcast. We'll probably do a series around that because I think a lot of that is being discussed. Now, that is one of my areas of specialty, and I will tell you this. Usually, I only have 2 in my practice at a time, just because it's probably one of the most hardest disorders to treat, a personality disorder. And it's because a lot of times there's lack of awareness, lack of ability, and it's ingrained in personality. There's a difference between personality and patterns of behavior. You could develop a bad habit. Well, you got to work on it and change the habit. Other things are ingrained in personality. It's who you are. So if you find people like this in your life that don't make you happy, or they make judgments or any of that, walk away. You know, recently I was at a get-together, actually a few months ago, and I saw this woman who I had worked with years ago. And I know she is. I know who she is. Meaning, once that beautiful phrase, once someone shows you who they are, believe them. I believed her when she showed me who she was. Lo and behold, we were catching up, and she started criticizing me, but they were masked as compliments. And there it was. In that moment, I could have reacted. I could have called her on it. All it did was it gave me the moment to thank the universe as a beautiful reminder that I made the right choice years ago when I chose to not have her in my life. It was just a beautiful reminder. Now I finished the conversation beautifully and I walked away. And that's okay. And I felt great. I felt great because I don't need to have that person in my life. Now, when you're dealing with family members, it's a little bit more difficult. However, you still have a choice. You have a choice to have them in your life or not. Now, here's the thing about difficult people. We have them. We create space for them. We want to make things better because we don't want to deal with the backlash. Okay? But friends sometimes, that you have in your life, they've betrayed you. Maybe you walk away a little bit and then you come back. Here's what I say, and again, you'll hear me say it a lot. Sometimes snakes, for lack of a better word, leave your life to actually shed and become bigger snakes. And you're opening the door saying, come on in, come on in. Now, here's your choice. Don't open the door. Don't open the door. It's okay. You don't have to endure. Let me tell you, you will not regret, maybe initially, feeling like you're missing out on something, maybe not being a part of it, but eventually you're going to realize that you getting out was the best thing because you weren't the one having to clean up the mess, yet made out to be the bad person. I have this quote. It's more of a thing I found. I want to read it to you. I thought it was great. Now, this could be narcissists or any difficult people that have some serious issues with boundaries. And here it goes. Narcissists break you in private, then tell everyone you're broken. They push you to react, then call you unstable. They create chaos, then label you crazy. It's not random. It's strategic. Let that sink in. You know what? I'm going to read it again because I know you're probably going to want to replay this just for this. Narcissists or difficult people break you in private, then tell everyone you're broken. They push you to react, then call you unstable. They create chaos, then label you crazy. It's not random, it's strategic. Now, let it soak in. Let it soak in. I chose this one in particular because I just thought it was so plain and simple and direct to the point, but this is exactly what happens. Sometimes you walk away from friends or family members and you're like, wait, what just happened there? I didn't say any of those things. And then the next thing you know, you're hearing from another family member or another friend that says, wow, hey, are you okay? I heard from so-and-so that you're, going through a difficult time. What? I'm not going through the difficult time. They're going through the difficult time. And then you wind up defending yourself. And a lot of times defensive people look guilty. They know that. It's strategic. Now, do I think they are like this? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create them to look crazy, and I'm going to... Do I think some do that? Absolutely. Do I think a lot of them don't do that? Yeah, I do. I think it's so ingrained in their personality that that's what they do. Why is this important? Why is this coming up now? Look, I'm going to have these podcasts about difficult relationships all the time. Why? Because relationships are hard. I tell people just to become a licensed practitioner like me, a licensed clinician, it took 9 years to get that initial license. And that was with all the hours to become licensed, all the 2 degrees, 9 years. Then you add on a PhD, you add on certifications. It's a lot. Why? Well, because relationships are difficult. Communication is difficult. My entire career, years of educational dedication and years of practice lead me to be the expert I am today. I still have difficulty sometimes communicating with my family because emotion is brought into it. Sometimes I become too clinical. Other times, I can be the vision that people need. I can be the skills and the techniques and the tools that people need to have a happier, healthier life. Sometimes people need to know that what they're fighting about is really not what they're fighting about. So, why is it important to learn how to communicate? Why is it important for us to know that you don't have to take this behavior from somebody? If someone betrays you, don't hand them your heart again. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Choose to be better. Choose to have different people in your life. Maybe you won't have 25 friends in your life, but you'll have 5 good ones. Or maybe you'll have 1 brilliant, beautiful one. I have someone in my life that I think is absolutely amazing. I met her in my master's program. She truly is my person. I have her in my life. She's a gift. I have somebody that I call a cousin, She's more of a frozen. We've met each other. Actually, they moved in next to my grandmother's house before I was even born. She's my sister. She truly is like a sister to me. She is amazing. She's someone in my life. And I have picked up a few other friends in my life that I can truly trust giving my heart to. Truly. I have other friends that I can give my heart to and enjoy a lunch and a dinner and all of that, and I feel great. But right now, it's like a handful with maybe a few falling over. Why? Because those are the people I trust to give my heart to. You don't have to give your heart to everyone. It's a choice. If someone betrays you, choose to not give them your heart again. If someone leads you to feel that you're the problem after they've created the problem, you don't need that in your life. It's hard. You know when someone says to you, if you could look back on a period of your life, or there's a lesson that you learned now that you wish you had learned before, what would it be? It's this, that I didn't need to keep enduring. It's part of my nature to endure. It's probably part of your nature to endure. Some of us endure much more than other people. Sometimes I think it's an occupational hazard. I'm always thinking, what could be going on in their life? But here's the thing. You can choose different. I wish I had that full knowledge. Now, I had the skill, I had the textbook knowledge, I had the words, I had the feelings and the thoughts, and I could connect them. You know what I was missing? Choice. I had the choice to walk away. I chose not to. But you know what? Teachable moment. Teachable moment, because today, I won't choose to stay. I won't choose to keep enduring. I have far more important things in my life, and I choose peace and I choose happiness. This is the gift I hope you take from today. You have that same choice to not take behavior from friends and family that make you feel bad. Set the boundary. Now here's the flip side. Are you ready? If you are that person who creates the chaos, and you are the person that you know it's ingrained in personality, please seek help. Seek help. Learn tools. Learn skills, not weapons and not your arsenal to get at people. Learn tools and skills. Become aware of what your chaos does to another person. Now, I've had many, many successful people come into my practice. And what I mean is I've had people come into my practice and be a success because they've become aware of the things that were ingrained in their personality and choosing not to be that way and led a successful life with healthy relationships. It can be done. Be aware. I will tell you this. Clinically speaking, professionally speaking, if you don't make the change, you're going to leave a trail of scorched earth behind you, of friends and family, and a lot of unhappy people. Do you really want to be the cause of that? Choose it. Choose not to. Now, if you're the person that has received that behavior from multiple people, reach out, find some help. Go talk to someone. Figure out why you have a pattern of doing that. Why do you keep having friends, different friends? Same friend, different face. Let me say that again because I kind of made a blooper there. Why choose people in your life that are the same people but the different face? Meaning, same pattern of behavior, same characteristics, same personality. It's just another person with a different face. Maybe you're the same person picking the wounded bird over and over again. What happens to wounded birds? Well, you come in, you heal them, fix them, and they fly away. And they no longer need you. Sometimes our nemesis or our ops or our enemies in life are really the people that we provided a lot of help for. Isn't that funny? The people that we helped the most and gave to the most become our worst enemy. And it's because they were a wounded bird. We helped them and they flew away. They were never ours to be in the first place. So, this was kind of a tough one. Go back, re-listen to it a couple of times if you need to. Ask me some questions. But in the future, in the near future, we're going to be talking about narcissistic personality disorder, narcissistic tendencies, overt, covert, meaning things that are hidden versus things that are outright. It's a problem. And I think a lot of it has come from a lot of people having past traumas. Either way, you can be the mature person. I'm giving you this option for you to receive the gift and make the change. And here it is. You don't have to take it. You can make the choice to not take it anymore and feel at peace. Allow the person who's created the chaos, the crossing of the lines, the tornado, the disturbances to sit within it and fix it. You can choose to walk away and be at peace. Have a great rest of your day. I'm Dr. Kat, and this has been Chat with Dr. Kat.